Hello and welcome. I'm Peggy Oliveira. Thank you so much for joining me. There are always so many great questions when I do a live Q&A. So during this time off, I thought I would share some of the questions that have come up from some of our community members that I think a lot of people can probably relate to, and maybe some compilations of some of my other videos. So I hope you find them beneficial, and I will look forward to seeing you very soon. Spark of Light says, what are your thoughts on trauma bond in a bad marriage relationship? Have healed so much from SA and childhood trauma. I know I need to leave, but my thoughts on trauma bond, like that could mean a whole lot of different things. So it sounds in particular like you're thinking that you know that you need to leave a relationship that maybe isn't so healthy for you, but it's difficult. Being in a relationship that you feel pretty certain that you're going to need to end. Well, I don't think it's ever easy. And when it comes to that kind of natural process happening as a result of healing, which is pretty normal, there are a lot of pieces that can end up playing a role in that. And sometimes, even if you've done a lot of healing already, navigating through the challenges of the various things that ending that relationship can bring up, that by itself can be something that somebody might actually have a therapist for that period of time, because there's so much to navigate in terms of just kind of the reality of what it means. But because of what it can bring up, and maybe even some guilt or fear, there can be a lot that feels kind of familiar around that, which can bring up difficulty that maybe you haven't been experiencing, but because of the familiarity, it can sometimes create some difficulty. So trauma bond is kind of an interesting phrase, interesting idea. The reality of it obviously has been around forever. Trauma bond is something that is, in a sense, kind of a natural occurrence for anybody that has experienced any sort of difficulty in relationship early in their life. So I would actually consider it more an attachment bond than a trauma bond, though often trauma and attachment issues go together. But when we come together from an unhealthy place, when we come together as unhealthy people, the connection that we create, because it is not based on awareness and healthy coping and healthy connection, those bonds, those connections, that attachment that we create has a lot of, I'm kind of visualizing something here, and I don't want to try to explain that because it would be confusing, I think, but it creates a lot of complexity in the relationship. Like I'm imagining this thing, so this single thing coming together to create this relationship, right? Like this single piece of rope coming together. But everybody has issues, whether you've experienced trauma or not. So everybody's got their stuff. And because of that, this rope that we are has little injuries at different points in it, right? So there's some fraying here or there. There's some duct tape in certain places holding it together. So we come together and we meet in the middle, right? But when we're meeting in the middle, all of these injuries on both sides are coming together. And we feel, in a sense, that when we come together, those wounds, in a sense, are being mended. They're not. being in a good, healthy relationship can be incredibly healing, but because that's what it can feel like, especially in the early stages of a relationship when things are typically much, better than they are a few years down the road, even just in terms of the intensity of feeling and all of that. It feels like it's creating healing in wounds that we often don't know that we have. So the idea of ending that or it not being good and needing to move on beyond just the ending of the relationship, it can create this idea, even this physiological sort of sensation that all of those wounds are suddenly going to be wide open again. And so that trauma bond is having needs met that we didn't know that we were having met, but unfortunately, oftentimes met in a way that is unhealthy. And oftentimes, those unhealthy ways that they're being met create a lot more intensity. So as I'm saying this, I realize that it may not make a whole lot of sense. Um, I'm trying to think of like another analogy for it, but nothing is coming to mind right now. Ultimately, when we come together with another person, and this can be true actually in a friendship as well. And I think this was part of the issue that I had in one of my friendships years and years ago. You come together in kind of a mutual way, even if you're not consciously aware that you're coming together in a mutual way, because we all have our stuff, right? So you come together in this mutual way, you develop a relationship that is somehow kind of mending the wounds that you have, even when you're completely unconscious or unaware that that is happening. The idea of separating that exposes you to having all these other things exposed again. And so that bond feels stronger. Like thinking about leaving can make you feel like you want to hold on more because there's all this other stuff that feels like it's connected to that. And if you don't have that, then what happens? So I hope that kind of makes sense.